Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about let's talk about let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. Merry Christmas, everybody. Yes, we are on here on Christmas Day. Hopefully you have had a great day with family and friends or just rolling solo. We got a lot to be thankful for. And so I am super excited to have my special guest here today, Miss Ayonna Charese of R&B Therapy. We're going to be talking about the Lost Boss Me Up. Today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about an interesting topic. Again, the topic tonight is the Lost Boss Me Up. I will tell y'all, I've had a full day of cooking and eating and spending time with family. So it has been a warm but eventful day as I checked out my nephews as they open their gifts. And so, again, just grateful to be amongst family. So I see a few folks tuning in. Hopefully we will have more. Hopefully y'all have already had your dinner. Y'all looked at Beyonce for the halftime show in Houston. Already went to the movie, and y'all back at the house and looking for something to do. So if you will, in the comments, put your city and state so we can give you a shout out. This is an interactive live, and your comments and questions are very much so welcome. So I see you, Lady Tanisha, here. Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us. Pandas 0918, which I believe is Miss Amoria. Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. All right, so I know some more folks will be joining us, but I'm going to go ahead and share Miss Ayonna Charese's bio. Ayonna Charese, who hails from Quincy, Florida, has toured the country singing in different bands and with Grammy-nominated artists for over 20 years. Now she leads a group of all-star musicians to deliver incredibly soulful and unique arrangements of originals, classic hits, and contemporary music. Her ear and vision for her music requires creative and spontaneous musicians, versatile influences, and sincere and powerful performances. Her life journey of trials and healing have added a spiritual quality. And why is my phone ringing right now? Sorry about that, y'all. Her life journey of trials and healing have added a spiritual quality to her sound. She is as versatile as she is skilled. Y'all help me welcome Miss Ayonna Charese.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Merry
Right.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Welcome,
Merry Christmas.
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So a bunch of folks are chiming in, but before I acknowledge them, I want to hear from you in terms of telling me who are you, not what you do, but who are you?
Okay, well, I am Ayonna Charese Taylor, aka better known as Peaches. Um, I am a newly 45-year-old woman who has been through quite a bit of things, but God has been a keeper and He has kept me. And I consider myself to be a good friend, a good listener, a loyal person. You know, um, I'm blessed to say the least. If I could sum myself up in one word, it would be blessed. So and you know what I will say, it has become easier, but it's always been difficult to talk about myself. You
Mm,
know, just because I grew up saying don't toot your own horn too much, or
yes.
don't do too much. So because I didn't want people to think I was conceited or had the big head, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
However, yeah, I'm just a girl who love music, who love God, who love her family, her friends, and I'm blessed.
Right. I love it. I love it. And bless you are. So happy belated birthday. I did have the great opportunity of coming to your album release on your birthday, celebrating you, and the music was fabulous. Beautiful voice. And I've thought that even before attending the album release, because I've seen you performing in the community many, many times. And so we got connected in this way via Miss Tan Lofton, who is on the live. Thank you for being here, Tan.
Big
Uh,
shout out to Tan.
Big shout out to Tan, yes. And so I'm so glad that she recommended that we get connected, and because you have such a powerful story. So again, congratulations on everything that you've done. I want you to talk just a little bit about, like, you know, your journey in terms of start doing music and how R&B therapy began for you.
Well, like most singers, we have a story of starting singing in the church at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
So, as my bio stated, I'm from Quincy. From a small city, 22 miles west of Tallahassee. Grew up in the AME church.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and around the age of 5, I believe my aunt noticed that I could sing.
Mm-hmm.
So she started working with me, and I would do little solos here and there, and just grew up singing in church. Once I got to middle school and high school, I didn't sing as much though. I was an athlete. I played basketball, so I kind of got into that. I was in the band as well, so singing was kind of like it was there, but it wasn't like at the forefront.
Right. On the
It
back
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't until I got in 10th grade. I was 16, 15, 16, and they needed someone to sing the national anthem at
burner.
the basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
So I sang the national anthem, and it kind of became a thing.
Okay.
So, you know, it was, and now that I think about it, it was way bigger than I could have expected it to be, because I did it for my last 2 years of high school, and I even came back after I graduated, and I still sang it.
Gotcha.
After I graduated, and they let nobody else sing the national anthem, they would play my recording at the games.
Oh, wow.
So, um, yeah, that's wild to me, wildly insane.
Yeah.
However, yeah, then I matriculated to the Florida A&M University.
All right. Go rap.
Um, Go Rattlers. And I became a member of the FAMU Gospel Choir very briefly, and I
Mm-hmm.
was a part of the concert choir because I found out, you know, early on that there was something different about me musically.
Okay.
Um, I had not had any real trials and tribulations just yet, so I did not quite understand what part music played for me. It was just the fact that I sang because I could sing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the desire and the drive was just kind of like, eh, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
like so many stories. You lose your mind sometime when you get out your mama house and you go to college. You know,
Yeah.
and living in my own apartment. So I just kind of, I was just kind of floating through that early part of my life. And at 19, I think it was when I was 19. I got paid to sing the national anthem at an Oscar De La Hoya fight.
Okay.
So that was my first paid gig, where I kind of realized that, hey, maybe I might be able to do something with it. So I basically just started, taking little solo gigs here and there, singing at weddings, doing, church events. And I got the opportunity to be a part of Dwayne Harvey and Unrestrained Praise.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to Pastor Dwayne Harvey.
Yes.
Um, and that's how I was afforded the opportunity to sing behind a lot of these artists: Kim Burrell, Karen Clark, Dorinda Clark.
Wow.
Uh, the list is extensive. So during that time, from like 20 to 26, 27, I was on the road quite a bit, traveling, doing all those things.
So what was that like for you?
it was it was exciting, to say the least. Like, just to be from where I'm from, and have the opportunity to travel the country and go to different states. That's not something that a lot of kids that grew up in Quincy got the opportunity to do. I
Mm-hmm.
remember in elementary school, and I had friends that had never gone to Tallahassee. You
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have the transportation to, or family didn't necessarily have the means to be able to go to Tallahassee.
Right.
So to say that, my very first time on a flight, I went to Las Vegas and was there for a week and stayed at the Venetian to be a part of Bobby Jones Gospel. And I was on Bobby Jones Gospel. So that was a that was an eye-opening moment for me, that what, God thought me special enough to,
Mm-hmm.
bring me out here and let me, meet Kurt Franklin and meet Mary, and you know, I was on the Stellars a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
so I got to see Ty Tribbett before Ty Tribbett became Ty
Got
Tribbett,
it. Right.
before we knew him as the great artist that he is, and the great man of God that he is. Just to see it
Mm-hmm.
and see it in real time, and it's like, is this really gonna catch? It's because it was like, coming from the AME church, it's like we were very black and white.
Mm-hmm.
It was no gray area. It was not all that dancing and carrying on. We didn't do all that. So to see it, and to see another opportunity and way for people to see God, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Met a lot of people, been a lot of places, did a
Mm-hmm.
lot of singing, saw a lot of things, learned a lot of things about myself. Um, I did that for about 7 years. Airports, hotels, traveling, so on and so forth. So it was good. I enjoyed it.
But let me ask you this: was the singing was it something that you were passionate about at this time? At that time?
I think more at that time it was more like more of me just having the ability to sing and enjoying being around the people that I was around.
Gotcha.
It wasn't so much that singing had become a complete part of who I was. It
Okay.
was just something that I did.
Okay. That's
It
fair.
wasn't it wasn't my persona just yet.
Okay.
Um,
That's fair.
it
That's
wasn't until hmm, start thinking about time and how much time has passed. It wasn't until around, I want to say, 2007, 2008, 2009. Somewhere around that time, I went to Cafe Cabernet, and I went to go. One of my friends was like, "Hey, let's go to Cafe Cabernet. They have a jazz band there." And I did not know Dave Stewart at the time. That was my first time going to hear him play saxophone.
okay.
So we were in the audience, and it was very good. And I was listening. I was like, wow. I was like, this is really good. Me experiencing a live band. In that's not a church band,
Gotcha.
if you will. So Dave had this line that he would play in a song, and he would have the audience. He would ask the audience to sing it back to him,
Okay.
and some kind of way he heard me singing the line back to him. And when they went on break, he came and asked me. He said, "Hey, do you wanna do a song?" And I'm like, "A song? Like in front of all of these people?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, I don't really know gospel songs. I said, "I know Alicia Keys, which if I ain't got you."
Uh-huh.
So I sang that song, and that Thursday was the start of me being a part of Dave Stewart and the Vibe. Big shout out to Dave Stewart.
Yeah.
Singing at Cafe Cabernet every Thursday, every other Thursday.
Right.
um that became a thing, and then Amin Ross happened with Moonlit Mondays and the Underground Railroad. Then there was Paradigm, there was Cool Grinds. It was so many different places that where I got my reps in, if you will,
Gotcha.
of becoming Ayonna Charese.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a whole lot of unpaid gigs, just doing it for fun, and that was when I realized, hey, I can really do this, and this makes me feel good. It,
Mm.
it would make me feel good. It would make me feel good when people would come up to me after a show, and regardless of what I was singing, they would tell me, I feel so much better after hearing you,
Oh
or I
wow.
had I had a bad day today, and just your energy, it brightened my day. So
Nice.
I realized in that moment that, maybe I can still reach people and not have to be in church to do it.
Mm.
And not have to necessarily sing a gospel song, because we learned earlier that God is love, and a lot of music is about love, and love is not love is love is a multitude of things. It
Mm-hmm.
it encompasses a multitude of feelings and emotions. So um I kind of like fell in love with myself and my voice, and just me growing musically was a thing, and it kind of like it took a life of its own.
Mm.
And I just kind of became pretty well known,
Okay.
for singing. And I shared a lot of stages with people who are Grammy winners: Kendra Foster, Jameson Ross,
Mm-hmm.
all these people who came through Tallahassee, who now built names for themselves.
Right.
And I'm forever grateful, that those are my friends, and I see where God is taking them, and it's just amazing to have been a part of the journey.
Indeed. So still at this time, would you say that music was your passion during that time?
It was becoming my passion. It was becoming my passion. I had not experienced anything yet to make music a necessity for me. It
Okay.
wasn't until 2011. I was dating a guy. I started dating a guy in 2009 or so, and the relationship was okay. And he wasn't physically abusive, but he was verbally abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to, I started to, what's the word? Hmm. I started to isolate myself, and I would isolate myself to the place of where only certain songs would comfort me.
Gotcha.
And that was when my relationship with music became more than me just singing it. It became a part of my everyday life. It became a part of, hey, let me listen to this song to get myself in a space where I don't have to deal with this.
Gotcha.
So um, at the end of that relationship, um, I had a friend that was a friend of mine, and he portrayed himself to be a hero to me. You know, he spoke up on my behalf, and he kind of took on the responsibility of a man in my life. My dad is alive. My dad is around.
Mm-hmm.
I call myself a every other weekend child support child. So I went to my dad's house every other weekend. You
Got
know, so it's not that my dad wasn't in my life, but the relationship has been strained, or had been.
it. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, this guy's like, he's great. He's looking out for me, and I kind of segued out of that relationship into a relationship with him.
Okay.
And now that I'm thinking back to it, that probably was the worst decision I ever made in my life.
Mm.
Um, Worst decision. Because he turned out to be even more abusive than the guy that I was with. This abuse became physical. And it that those from 2011 to 2018, 2010 to 2018, that time changed my life.
Mm.
And that is when I became who I am now in my relationship with music. We got married. My ex-husband was a musician,
Mm-hmm.
so we sang together. I play drums, he plays piano, so we had that connection. And it wasn't until after we got married that the abuse started. All prior to when we were just dating, everything was wonderful, great. But it's like the week after we got married, that's when he started hitting me. That's when I found out, he was a drug addict.
Wow.
Um, it was it was very tough.
Yeah.
It was extremely tough. Um, hmm. Just to know that the the level of love that I had for this person kind of allowed me to enable him to be who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I found out that he was doing drugs secretly, you know,
Mm-hmm.
behind my back. And at the time, um, he was putting drugs in my food. He was putting drugs, so I became addicted to drugs because he was putting it in things that I was consuming. Um, During that time period, I became homeless. About 4 years, I I got pregnant. My kids were my twins. My first pregnancy, my twins. I delivered them early due to a domestic violence situation. Then stuff just got worse. Like my family didn't know where I was. Like they couldn't find me.
Yeah.
And because I was embarrassed to say the least. I was embarrassed to say the least. I didn't want anybody to see me that way. And I didn't know how to get out of the situation that I was in. I couldn't even fathom the idea, because I remember I had a friend prior to both of those relationships that was in a situation, and I used to say, I don't understand how you just stay with somebody that hit you. I don't understand. I'll never let out, and I soon became the thing that I said I'd never let somebody do to me.
Right.
So when people say never say never, please never say what won't happen, because you never know.
You never know.
And through that, I stayed around. I had a very, 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 very strong praying mother and praying grandmama.
Yeah.
And I know their prayers is what saved me, along with the other people who were aware. And during this time, we still going to church. We still doing praise and worship at these churches. And a lot of the pastors that we were up under, they knew what was going on, but nobody said anything
or did
anything. And in retrospect, I kind of see why. Sometimes God doesn't allow people to speak up in moments, because He doesn't want anybody to take the credit or get the glory for the transformation that He's going to bring about in life. And I remember after my first pregnancy, the doctors told me that because of the trauma that had happened, that I wouldn't be able to have kids. And around 2016, we were at a church, and the pastor of the church, she kept telling me, I keep seeing you with a baby. And I kept telling her, ma'am, I can't have kids. I can't get pregnant. That can't happen. And long story short, she made somebody go to the store and buy a pregnancy test. And I took the test during church, and I literally sat in that bathroom for the remainder of church, because I could not believe what I saw, because I was pregnant.
Wow.
And during this time, I'm like what's happening? Like, this relationship is not, like, I shouldn't even be pregnant, And now, they say hindsight is 20/20. I understand now why the pregnancy happened, because immediately when I found out everything that I was doing that was detrimental to my health and my life, I then made it about this child that I was carrying. So the drugs that I had become addicted to all got quit cold turkey, like this. Never touched them. I ain't looked at them since then. It's 2024. So it's been 8 years. So I've been clean, sober 8 years.
Wow. Congratulations. That is commendable.
Thank you so much. It's hard. And I tell people that drug addiction alone, any addiction, is hard to beat. But to do it cold turkey, I had a reason to do it.
Right.
But that pregnancy was short lived as well. I got he and I got into, I ain't gonna say it was short lived. I carried my son 8 months. And we got into it, and he pushed me out of a car while it was moving.
Oh, wow.
And the car kind of rolled over me. So there was that. And at that following weekend, we were at my grandma's house, the house that I currently live in now, and he slapped me in front of my grandmama. And my grandmama said to me, she said, if you don't leave him, he is going to kill you.
Wow. And
that weekend in July, I told him, I don't know where you're gonna go. I don't know how you're gonna get there, but I can't do this no more. And that was the that was the turning point of me getting my life back,
Yeah.
of me getting myself back. It was hard. It was hard. It was difficult. There were times I did not know, like I didn't even know how to live my life without him.
Mm-hmm.
Even through all the things that had gone on between he and I did not know how to live my life without him.
Yeah.
You know, I stopped going to church. You know, I basically stayed closed up in the house for 5 years.
Wow. So I'm gonna ask you again, what role did music play during that time?
During this time, there was none.
There was no music.
There was none.
Not not a
I couldn't
song in
hear
your heart. Not a
nothing.
mm,
I was too hurt.
mm,
I was too broken.
yeah.
Um, I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to even still have the gift.
Mm,
It wasn't until I got connected with the church that I was at previously that
mm-hmm.
I sang again, and I sang "For Your Glory" by Tasha Cobb.
Okay.
And in that moment, my healing started.
Mm,
I started to sing again. It was almost instantaneous. Um, and in that moment, I realized, you know what? You know, God gave me this gift. I've been through this stuff that I've been through, and I'm not that. Because in that same moment, that same day, I told people about what I had gone through in church. I,
mm,
I, I've never been shy about giving my testimony. I never have been,
mm,
because my grandmother, God rest her soul, she lived to be 102, and
mm.
she used to tell me all the time, if you tell it, can't nobody tell your story better than you, and you tell it right, you know. So
Yep.
I've never been shy about it, but I would use music. I would use, you know, music to help me relay a message to people,
Yeah.
and God started downloading things into me, and I started writing.
Mm-hmm.
um I started, doing songs, and I realized, maybe it's time for me to get back into it. And I just started singing all over again. And it was like music became my first love all over again.
Mm,
It was nothing could knock me off my pedestal. Nothing could get me outside of that. I got connected with a corporate band. I started doing corporate gigs.
mm-hmm.
And around 2000, what year is this? Oh, so in 2017, I started a small band with just me and two friends of mine.
Okay.
We didn't have a name or anything like that. We just would do gigs, and we would do things. And then we started getting some traction. People wanted to come do gigs, do weddings, do birthday parties. And I was like, well, you know what? This might be a thing. This might be something. So fast forward to how we get to R&B therapy. I I'm a type 2 diabetic.
Okay.
So it's but the more when I talk about it, I'm like, Lord Jesus, all this stuff, um, kidneys. Found out I have stage 2 kidney disease.
Mm,
Um, my blood sugar was 900.
mm.
I began to lose my eyesight. Like, I literally went blind for 14 days.
Wow.
So in that moment, my doctor was like, "Hey, you gotta go. We gotta get you to the bariatric center, to the bariatric clinic,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, whatever." So when
Mm-hmm.
they start you on the process to have bariatric surgery, they automatically send you to a therapist to make sure that your mental is prepared for what happens after the surgery.
Right.
I ended up not having to have the surgery because I followed the rules, But during the therapy, the therapist was like, "I feel like you need a music therapist."
Mm.
And in the moment, I was like, why would I need a music therapist? I do music.
Right.
That's what I do for a living. You know. So she connected me with a music therapist, and this music therapist, her name is CL. Thank you so much to CL. She made me see music in a different way. She,
Mm.
we would use songs to help me process my feelings.
Wow.
Um, there's a movie that Hugh Jackman is in called The Greatest Showman on Earth. I believe that's the name of it. And there's a song in that movie which is called "This Is Me,"
Okay.
and that song helped save me
Hmm.
because it helped me see myself. I've always been plus size. I've always, not been. I've always been popular, but I was not always favored, by the opposite sex. I was always the homegirl. I was never a choice,
Got-
So, but it helped me see that regardless of what other people on the outside thought of me, I was still good. I'm still
Yeah.
me. So
Yes.
in that moment, I said, well, you know what? Music might, I might be able to, turn this into something. And God, I saw it vividly, and I saw R&B therapy, and I was like, you know what? There are a lot of songs that speak to different situations and relationships. Like, to
Mm-hmm.
me, Mary J. Blige is one artist that utilizes her pain to to speak to the masses. You
Yeah.
know, because people need to know that you're not the only person going through that, and some people not going to church.
Mhm.
All gospel songs don't speak to every situation.
Yeah.
Even though they should. And some people are not in the place to hear that. So I God gave me R&B therapy, and I didn't know how it was gonna happen. I had no idea. I just left. I put my hands up and I said, God, tell me what you want me to do with R&B therapy. So during this time, I got into a car accident,
Mm.
got rear-ended by a drunk driver going 95 miles per hour. I was sitting still at a red light. I got hit. I don't remember what happened in the accident. I know
Okay.
that my nose and stuff is all new. All of this is new. Um, I was down for about a year, and during that time is when I wrote my first song that was on my EP that I put out in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Night to Day, because I couldn't go anywhere, like, and I had gone to Texas during that time, and I had written the song, and it was like during that time it was being downloaded into me because I was going to therapy, I was going to my regular therapy, I was going to my music therapy,
Okay.
and it was all intertwining together, that these principles and these things that I'm learning in here are things that I can relay to people when they come to my show. And that's when God gave me the name of my band as well.
Which is
Rehab.
the Rehab Band.
Rehab. And at the time, I realized that everybody has something that they need rehabilitation from. It's
Mm.
not just drugs. Some people have a shopping problem. Some people have a food problem. Some people have, we all have vices, and we were all had been going through stuff. And it seemed like when we would get together to practice or just shed or just listen to music, it seemed like everything became calm.
Yeah.
I could think better. I felt better. So that's just something that I wanted the masses to be a part of. I wanted people to experience it.
Love it. So I'm gonna pause you right there because we are
Mm-hmm.
past our 30-minute mark, but we have a whole bunch of folks that have chimed in earlier, just giving us greetings. So I definitely want to acknowledge them.
Okay.
Um, so Miss Katrina in Macon, Georgia, Merry Christmas. Felicia Dilbert, also in Tallahassee, thank you for joining. Merry Christmas to you. Miss Stephanie Clark, Merry Christmas. Terrell Bowman, Merry Christmas. Tracy Adams Gole, Merry Christmas. Keosha Forson, Merry Christmas. Warren Cave, good evening. Louis Dilbert, courageous testimony. Yes. Miss Dorothy Potter, who is here in Miami. Thank you for being here, Miss Potter. Merry Christmas to you. We got Frank Hill on in Tallahassee, Edwina in Tallahassee, and Miss Natasha Myers here in Miami. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Thank y'all for tuning in. So for those of you who are just joining us, I am talking with Miss Ayonna Charese of R&B Therapy, who is a dynamic singer, entertainer, and our topic is the Lost Boss Me Up. Now we hadn't really gotten to the Lost Boss and Me Up. We get ready to get into that in just a minute, but she just was sharing her testimony and just how she even got to the place of music being her passion, and while gifted and having had this gift for quite some time, not really appreciating it initially as a young person. It wasn't until after seeing some things, having some opportunities, but then going radio silent, not even be able to hear any music, and coming out of a domestic violence relationship, um, drug abuse, uh, losses of children, just a lot of trauma, that she was able to hear the music again. And so, right before this break, we were talking about just how you were talking about how you named your band and named your business, and just the healing that was kind of taking place when you all came together to do music.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's God blessed me with a wonderful group of friends who
Mm-hmm.
do music. And when I got ready to do my very first show wasn't an R&B therapy show. My
Mm-hmm.
very first show was my This Is Me show, which I
Okay.
named after the song that got me
Greatest
that
Showman.
from The Greatest Showman.
Got it.
Um, because in that moment I realized the use of my gift was mine to either squander away or
Mm,
make the best of.
yeah.
So in that moment, it was like, you know what? God said it's time.
Mm,
It's time.
yeah.
It's time. I
Mm-hmm.
did my show, and I was so overcome and overwhelmed with nervousness and anxiety
Mm,
because I was like, who is gonna come?
mm,
Because in that moment, the devil started to kind of try to get into my mind and say, nobody coming to see you. Don't
mm,
nobody want to hear you sing.
yeah.
These people know about your past. They know
Right.
all the stuff you've been through. They know the drugs you was on. So just
Mm-hmm.
all the lies that the devil tells us to try to get us, we used to play four squares, kids try to knock you off your square.
Yeah.
And when I tell you the people showed up in a
Mm,
way that in that moment I knew I was loved.
yeah.
I knew I was. And in that moment I was like, okay, you know what? It's time for me to go ahead and it's time for me to go ahead and level up. It's
Mm-hmm.
time for me to go ahead and really do this. And soon after that, I had my first R&B therapy. My first R&B therapy was supposed to be homecoming of 2022.
Okay.
And something happened with the promoter that was helping me with it, so I ended up having to cancel it. So I did not have my first R&B therapy until a year or so later.
Gotcha.
And it's almost like when I'm planning an event or when I'm getting ready to do my R&B therapy, it's almost like the enemy knew what to say to try to get me to cancel it
Mm,
or something would happen. It seemed like everything that could go wrong would go wrong.
right.
But every single time God showed up and people came. I have not had a show that was not sold out yet.
Wow.
And when I did my first staged R&B therapy, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to highlight people who meant something to me and who haven't always had the opportunity to be themselves on stage, because I know what it feels like to be in a space where you're told how to dress, you're told what to sing,
Mm,
and you don't really have the creative freedom to be the artist that you can be.
yeah.
And my younger sister was on that show. My good friend Myron Dupree,
Mm,
um, Jory Stalwart, Jory Ane,
mm-hmm.
and Asa Terry. They were on. They were. Those were the four people that I featured in my first R&B therapy.
Okay.
And when I say it was just a night of just me singing songs. It was the '90s edition of, because I always theme them. It was the '90s edition, and me growing up in the '90s. That music itself is the soundtrack to a lot of things that are nostalgic for a lot of people. You
Yeah.
know, so I highlighted that music, and it gave them the opportunity to be in front of a crowd and experience getting the love back into them as an artist.
Mm,
And just having people to sing along, and it felt like a family reunion.
mm,
That's really what it felt like.
yeah.
And for me, in that, like, it's always after the shows for me when people come up to me and say, this was amazing. I feel better. And for me, that's the therapeutic part of it. That
Mm-hmm.
the music is one of the things in the world that can bind us together, no matter what race, color, creed, country we're in. Music is that thing that brings us together. And for some of the artists to tell me, hey, you know what, thank you for giving me the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
or I didn't see myself in this light, and now I can see from the first show to the one I just had for my birthday, I see the growth.
Mm.
And I don't take credit for that at all. People like to say, thank you. I'm like, well, we thank God for him keeping me and giving me this idea so that, we can share this gift with the world. And, you
Yeah.
know, for some people, we the only Jesus that people gonna see. Because regardless of what I sing, you know that it's Jesus up in my heart. You know it because I'm gonna say something about it. We're gonna have
Right.
a moment. It's gonna be something. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So it's I can't explain it. Sometimes I'm still speechless when I look back at clips or footage from shows, or I look at messages, or people tell me, like, I had somebody call me a hero, they musical hero. And
Mm.
coming from a place where I've been beaten and downtrodden and spoken negatively over, sometimes it's hard to hear that. But I realize, you know what, God, you created a platform and a way for me to be able to be the boss that I know I am, and not in a conceited way.
Yeah.
And he continues to open doors, and he continues to make ways for me to make this platform, open to whomever. The show that I had prior to this, I had 13 people be on that show who had never sung in public before. They always had a desire to sing, but nobody gave them an opportunity.
Mm.
And I made it about them. It's never been about me.
Mm.
And so I've had some people say, well, we wanted to hear you sing more, and I was like, well, I'm gonna sing. I said, but it's more so about, giving people the other opportunity to see what this feel like. You never know who you're gonna touch. I believe that, God has assigned all of us have a certain group of people that are assigned to us, that we gotta be the way that they see him. So
Mm-hmm.
you never know, not everybody might not like my singing. You know what I'm saying? I might not be their favorite.
This is
It
true.
might it might be this person. It might be that person. So I'm never too big, to say, hey, listen, you want to be a part of the show? Come be a part of the show. And
Mm.
I teach voice lessons. I teach, I help people get over stage fright. I
Mm-hmm.
do all these things, which is stuff that I learned through my therapy.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, how when I come across people and we have conversations, and music is the thing that connects us.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the vehicle. The music is the vehicle, you
Yeah.
know. But we listen to a song, and then we'll start talking, or I try to get people to actually let the music take them.
Mm-hmm.
Even when performing, I say, you kind of got to be vulnerable being a singer.
Yeah.
You
You
know, you
you
got to
do.
be.
You do if you really want people to feel it.
Yeah, you got to be.
Yeah.
You know, because and I remember when I first started it, I used to want to be like this person. I used to try I
Mm.
used and it would come out disingenuous, because it wasn't me.
Not you. Yeah. Uh-oh. And people can feel that. People can sense that.
Me.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
can
it
sense
wasn't
that
me.
it's not you. Yeah.
So yeah, so I didn't want it to be that. So I
Mm.
started just being me,
Mm-hmm.
and not on no conceited, I'm better than anybody type thing, because I got some great friends. I mean, we all did TNL together, and I had been a part of Tallahassee Nights Live since before it was TNL, when it
Mm.
was Harlem Nights, when we were back at the Ramada on North Monroe.
Right.
So big shout out to Doc D, for even giving me the opportunity to be a part of that platform. But when
Mm-hmm.
that came to when I stopped doing that show, I didn't stop going.
Mm-hmm.
I realized, God allowed that to happen so I could get to where I am now,
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm able to pull other people in. And, for all my friends can sing, and I said it at my birthday. I said, I asked these people if they would come and sing for me,
Yeah.
because I needed it. I needed to be poured into because I gig sometimes 3, 4 times a week. And it's hard to pour from an empty cup.
So
So I
speaking of which,
mhm,
you shared with me that December made 1 year that you're doing music full time,
full time.
which is very commendable, meaning that you don't have a state job, you're
I
not
do
working
not.
for anybody else, you are
I
working
do
for
not.
yourself
Mhm.
only. And
December 14th. We
yes,
took.
and so
Yes.
it's been able to sustain you this year,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. It
which is
hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy.
yeah.
And I tell people, people always say, you know what, yeah, it ought to be good working for yourself. You ain't got to clock in. I said, listen, I have to treat this more than like a job. Because, see, when you clocking in on somebody's job,
Mhm.
at the end of 2 weeks, it's a check coming, regardless of whether you go in there and go to sleep on the job, whether you go in there and do what you're supposed to do. As long as you're there for them 8 hours out of the day, and you're going to get your check at the end of 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So doing what I do is not something tangible. You can't put your hands on it. I'm selling an experience. I'm
Mhm.
selling. I am the product.
You
So
are.
I have to get up in the morning time, just like I'm going to a job. I got to get out there. I got to make content. I got to get people. I got to get my name out there. I actually have to do the same amount of work, if not more, to be visible. For people to want to book.
Yes.
And it's a whole lot of up and down the road, a whole lot of traveling. But
Mhm.
it's this last year has been. And I listen. God told me many years ago to get off a job, and I just wouldn't do it. Would
Right.
not do it because in my mind I need a job. I
Right.
got I got health insurance. I need. Listen. I have health conditions, so I can't be without health insurance. It's all
Mhm.
these things,
It's
right?
these things, all of these things.
And he allowed so many things to happen to where I just had to, like, I had no other choice.
Mhm.
And I
'Cause
said, well, you know what, God.
he wouldn't allow those opportunities to come through for you.
And every single time it got a little tough, and I say, you know what? Let me go and get me a job. Let me go get me something to do. It'll be very, very quickly that
Mhm.
somebody call me for a gig, or I
Mhm.
get a payment for a deposit. Or, there have been times I wanted to retire. I said, you know what, I might as well just go back to school, finish my degree, and just
Mhm.
get me a job and be regular. And I heard really quickly, I didn't make you regular. You're not normal. Like, you're not, you, as the Bible says, we are peculiar people. You know,
Mhm.
there's nothing normal about you. So, you
Yeah.
know, for 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 God to have sustained me, and then, I had so many people telling me, well, you gonna have to move. You don't know, nobody gonna pay that kind of money to see no band and dot 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 where we live at. And I didn't let that stop me because I said, you know what, God wouldn't have told me to do this if he didn't have me. He would not have given me,
Part.
there, he wouldn't have given me this if it wasn't that. And he's continually allowed me to he's created space and opportunity for me to be able to make a living,
To make
be able to pay my own health insurance.
allow your
Yeah,
gift to make room for you. So yeah.
and that's it. The gift is at, and I am a firm believer in that because it ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. Because
Mhm.
every time I think about it, I'm like, these people still coming out here to hear me sing.
Mhm.
And sometimes it just it blows my mind, and it just
I
it's just, yeah.
All right, so Asia Powell has joined us. Merry Christmas. Frankel said, I appreciate your clarity of thought and mind. You certainly expressed the heroic spirit. I'm inspired just in a few minutes of tuning in.
Mm.
Thank you,
Thank you. God
Frankel.
is good. Thank you
Talithia
so much.
is here with us. Hey T, she said, Merry Christmas. Grinding for yourself is extra work,
Yes, it
but
is.
it's so worth it, and
Most
no good
definitely.
thing will he withhold from us. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
we got Miss Teresa Nix. Joe Ellen's in the house. She said it always seemed impossible until it's done. Merry
Yes,
Christmas.
ma'am. Merry
Thank you,
Christmas,
Miss
Miss
Teresa.
Teresa.
All right, we got Miss Dr. Anika Fields on with us. Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here. All right, so you suffered a lot of loss. You have.
And December is a month of loss because my grandma passed on December 3rd. We buried her December 14th. My birthday is December 19th. And then my cousin, who was raised like my sister, passed a week or so after my grandma.
Yeah.
So this month being seasonal affective disorder a month is a thing. You know, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, the changing in seasons, you know,
Yeah.
causes people to be in a place. And
Mm-hmm.
it started happening in the beginning of this month, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I just had to pray and say, God, what you want me to do? Like, I don't even want to celebrate my birthday. I
Yeah.
don't, you know, I miss my grandma. It's been 5 years. I miss my grandmama. You know, I miss Robin, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So it's like, what do I do? And he was like, have a concert on your birthday. Have your friends come sing for you. I said, on a Thursday?
On a Thursday.
On a Thursday. I said, well, okay. And, you know, God did what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was by far probably one of the best experiences I've had in my life, just to be able to have people who were with me,
Yeah.
who saw me go through these things that I went through,
Mm-hmm.
who know who I was then, and
Mm-hmm.
to see where I am now. And you know, I was so full, and tears just streamed down my face throughout the night, just because I was so grateful,
Yeah.
that because I could not be here. It's been several times I could have not been here at
Yeah.
the hands of other people, at the hands of myself,
Yeah.
and even I'm just here to hopefully inspire somebody that just because you lose something, it does not mean that your world is over. It does not mean that it's the end. And it's always a cliche statement, but I don't look like what I've been through. I
Mm-hmm.
should. When I think about all the hell and torment I've been through, I should look like the Crypt Keeper or the Grim Reaper. I should look I should look like that. But I refuse. I refuse to fall victim to my past. I
Mm-hmm.
refuse to let that allow me to operate beneath the gift that God gave me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like it every day.
Yeah.
That I'd be crazy to say that I do, but I can't stop. I gotta keep going. Like, it's necessary now. It's necessary for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to do this. Like I'm sitting, like I'm on this. I'm on here with you tonight, and I got a
Right.
show that start in like 15 minutes. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just the life. That's the
Yeah.
life. And I prayed for it. It's so many things that I prayed for. I made a list and I wrote down every single thing from the smallest to the largest thing that I wanted God to do for me. And I prayed over it and I put it under my mattress, and I ain't thought about it. And I
Mm.
did it 5 years ago.
Wow.
And now I pull that list out. It's so many things on that list.
That you crossing off.
But I don't know when it happened. Like, I can't pinpoint it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just set your intentions and you keep your heart posture in the right place, you
Mm-hmm.
know, God will do exactly what he said he would do. And I believe that wholeheartedly, and that's my message to everybody. There's nothing, as Talithia stated, there's nothing that is in the Bible. There's nothing that he will withhold from us,
Mm-hmm.
and no good thing will he withhold from us. And I'm just grateful that he allowed me to still be able to open my mouth,
Yes.
not just to sing, but to not be bound by the things I've gone through, by the losses that I've had, because I've suffered several. And there are people who've gone through a lot less than me that did not survive, did not make it. And I'm just here to say, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like, whomever may hear this, don't let anybody tell you that you should get over what you're going through. You got to go through the process. You got to
Mm-hmm.
go through it. I didn't rush myself to heal. I didn't rush it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sweep it under the rug. I didn't try to. I did not. I sat in it. I dealt with it, and I'm better for it.
Yeah.
So we all every loss is just a lesson, and
Mm.
all those lessons that I've gone through has made me, the owner and operator of Ayonna Charese Entertainment, doing business as R&B therapy, and that means something to me. I didn't just start it just to make money, because it's not even about that. I started it because I want to be a beacon of light and hope for other people out here.
Well, indeed you are, ma'am. Indeed you are. Uh, I've already heard this story, viewers, but it's so refreshing to hear it again because it's so encouraging. Every loss is a lesson. Write the vision, make it
Make
plain,
it plain.
set your intentions, put your heart posture in the right place. Put your heart posture in the right place and know that you are here for a purpose.
Yep.
That your loss is just a lesson. That
Your loss is just a lesson.
I think that was the mic drop right there for me. Your loss is just a lesson.
Yeah.
It's not the end. It doesn't define you.
Nope.
It's just a lesson.
No, it's just a chapter in this grand book of life.
Mm,
That's what it is. And you know, my grandmother would always tell me, keep your heart pure, regardless of what people do to you, regardless of what they say about you, because
mhm.
it's not what they do to you, it's your response to what they do to you. And
Yes.
I always tell people all the time, people say so and so made me mad. No, you had a choice to be mad. You didn't have to,
Mhm.
you know. So we have a choice.
Yes.
Have choices in life, and I choose to keep my heart where it is. I
Yes.
choose that, and I just want to, admonish people today to make a choice to get up every day. When you don't feel like it, get up, still get up. You
Yeah.
don't feel yours to get in the mirror and say, you know what, I love you. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am needed. I am necessary. These are things I told myself every day until I believed it.
Mhm.
So now is that's just who I am. That's just what I walk in. You know, that all goes back to setting my intentions, and
Yes.
that's what I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, you done close this out. So I'm gonna just we're gonna let you tell the folks how they can connect with you and be done.
All right. Well, you can follow me on Facebook at Ayonna Charese. That's AYONNA CHARESE. My Instagram is the same. It's Ayonna_Charese. Also, my website, www.ayonnacharese.com. That's where I can be found. And around town singing. You know, the next R&B therapy will be in February. It's going to be Valentine's Day weekend on
Okay.
that Sunday, February 16th.
Nice.
So be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout. So y'all follow her, keep up with the shows that she has coming up when she's going to be performing in the community, and get her EP. How can they get your music?
Oh, so my clearance is almost done for my album, but I put a single out to yesterday. It's called Right on Time. It's out right now on all of your streaming platforms. You want to purchase it? It's on Amazon. It's on iTunes. Um, right on time. Search my name, Ayonna Charese. You also have access to all of the other music that I have put out. Please go and support. It's good music. It's good feel good music. It's very therapeutic.
Indeed it is. Indeed it
Yes,
is.
ma'am.
All right. So I hope you all found this conversation to be enlightening, encouraging, beneficial. There's a word that says we overcome by the word of our testimony. And
Yes,
so I thank you, Ayana, for sharing your testimony and
yes,
encouraging us not to allow the loss to get us down, but to boss us up,
yes,
right? Not to
yes,
allow,
ma'am.
not to allow those losses to get us down, but to boss us up. So let us know in the comments if you have enjoyed this conversation, if it's benefited you in some way. Give us a thumbs up, a heart, because I know Miss Ayana's got to go and sing
Yes, ma'am.
Christmas Day. Uh,
Christmas Day.
yes, 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 yes. But I really do appreciate you spending some time with me this evening, and
Yes,
again,
ma'am.
sharing your testimony, and just wishing you all the best in the new year and with all that God plans to do with you and that beautiful voice of yours. So
Yes,
thank you
ma'am.
so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and I wish you the same. Thank you for this platform, and thank you for giving me the opportunity just to speak. So, thank you, Miss Nicole, for all
You're
that you do for us.
welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure. All right. Tia, she said, beautiful. Thanks. Wonderful. All right, good people. We're not going to prolong you. Y'all have a great rest of the evening, great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.